Hey guys, welcome back. This is Fran. Today we're going to be talking about why most lottery winners go broke within 5 to 7 years. Now, who wouldn't want to win the lottery? That is so many people's dreams, but these dreams can turn into absolute nightmares depending on how good you are with money. And that is why I always stress that you be as financially literate as you possibly can, because if you were to play the lottery and you won, I wouldn't want you to be part of that statistic. Listen to this. Lottery winners are more likely to declare bankruptcy within 3 to 5 years of winning than the average American, which basically means that someone could have won the lottery and won tens of millions of dollars, and they are more likely, statistically speaking, to go bankrupt within 3 to 5 years than an average person like you or me. And 70% of lottery winners actually go broke within 7 years. Well, you might say if you won the lottery, this would never happen to you. But statistically speaking, it could very well happen to you. And throughout this video, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why this happens and what you have to do to make sure that it does not happen to you if you were to win the lottery. Now, the first reason why most lottery winners go broke within 5 to 7 years, it's simply because they cannot control their spending. In fact, they immediately start spending lavishly, and usually that's on things that they don't really need. It's just something that they naturally tend to want to do as soon as they win millions of dollars in the lottery. And there's no faster way for you to blow all of your money than to buy expensive items like expensive luxury cars and expensive houses. And usually that's exactly what happens, and it's done without much thought. And the crazy thing about it all is that they may not realize it at the time that they're doing it. At the time that they're purchasing, say, a $5 million house, or as they're buying a $150,000 to $200,000 vehicle. But what they fail to understand is buying a house that is so expensive, or buying cars that are so expensive, especially after you've just won the lottery, is one of the worst things that they can do. For example, let's say they buy a $5 million house, right? A $5 million house is not a one-time expense. Even if they paid cash from their lump sum to buy that house, they've just signed up for a yearly property taxes of like $150,000. Meaning that if the original lump sum that they took is not invested so that it can start producing money, generating income for them, then within just 1 year, they'll have to pay $150,000 in property taxes on that $5 million house. And that's going to come straight from their lump sum amount that they collected. And that's without even taking into consideration the increased utility bills that you're going to have for that house and the yearly maintenance costs to upkeep that house. And the same goes for expensive vehicles. Expensive vehicles require insurance just like your regular car does. However, these monthly insurance premiums are going to be a lot more than the average car, which are expenses that are also going to be deducted from the get-go, from the lump sum that was just collected. So, being unable to control their lavish spending from the get-go is the first reason why they go broke within 5 to 7 years. Now, the second reason why most lottery winners go broke within just a few years, it's because they do not take taxes into consideration. And particularly after having won millions of dollars, that's one of the most important things that they should be paying attention to. With such large winnings, income taxes can range as high as 40 to 45% of their winnings. And depending on the states in which they reside, they will have to pay a considerable amount of taxes in addition to the federal taxes. And this is exactly why it's very important to make sure that you get professional tax help even prior to collecting your winnings. Because just like you wouldn't perform surgery on yourself, or you just wouldn't pull your own teeth out, you would go to a professional with experience to get those done. The same things apply with taxes. They would have to make sure that they get the best qualified tax professional that they can possibly get. And if they fail to do so, that will definitely contribute to them going bankrupt within just a few years. And you have to understand, it doesn't happen to everybody, but the chances of that happening, it's extremely high for most lottery winners. Now, the third reason why most lottery winners go bankrupt within just a few years, it's simply because the intense excitement and happiness experienced from winning the lottery is enough to cloud their judgment. Now, unlike someone who became wealthy over an extended period of time, someone who unexpectedly wins the lottery does not have the same knowledge and experience at properly managing such large amounts of money. The extreme excitement causes them to make irrational financial decisions because they simply don't think that the money is gonna run out. It's just too much for them to comprehend. It's just too much for them to fathom ever running out of money. And because of that same excitement, all sense of reality is lost, at least temporarily. They essentially feel like they're invincible. And when it comes to money, particularly such large sums of money, acting and reacting based on emotions, it's just a recipe for disaster. Now, the fourth reason why most lottery winners go broke within just a few years is simply because of this. Now, financial literacy is vital, even if you don't have tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. But when you add that into the mix, it's even more important. Knowing how to properly manage your money and invest it is a skill that you definitely need when you have so much money. Now, many lottery winners do know that they need to invest their money. However, they do not seek out competent, qualified professional help, and they try to invest the money themselves. And as a result, they generally make horrible financial investments. And one thing that happens a lot is that family or friends of theirs may start bringing in possible business ventures when they themselves have never ran or operated a business successfully in the past. So a lot of the money ends up being borrowed to be repaid back, but it's never repaid back. Because why? The person who won has all of this money. Why would they need to be paid back? That's generally the attitude of those that borrowed the money. So money that could have been invested properly in sound investments to make sure that the lump sum is generating money almost immediately, allowing the lottery winners to live off of that income, is never invested and is lost and wasted. All because the winners are not financially literate enough. They fail to seek out professional help from a trusted, licensed, qualified financial advisor with experience at managing large sums of money, or with experience at managing the money for wealthy individuals. Now, the fifth and last main reason why most lottery winners tend to go broke within just a few years is because they fail to remain anonymous, even though the state in which they live allows them to collect the money anonymously. Now, I don't even have to tell you this, but going on TV, doing press conferences for the media, or being posted on the state lottery's website is one of the worst things that you could possibly do, especially after having won millions or tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars in the lottery. And in the age of social media, that's even worse. And once the world knows, people will literally be coming out of everywhere. Friends, family members, acquaintances, classmates, old friends, and even strangers will be coming out of the woodwork to come get a piece of the pie. And if they cannot get their hands on some of that money, as it's happened in the past, you will even be sued in court based on baseless accusations. And especially if you cannot say no, in many of these situations, the lottery winner cannot say no, or they feel like they cannot say no. Before you know it, money will just be flowing out and will be spent uncontrollably. And the sad thing is, even if they do put their foot down and they say no to many of the people that will be asking for handouts, and all of a sudden there will be a lot of resentment and animosity towards them, which in many cases have resulted to lottery winners resorting to alcohol or drugs or a combination of the two, just to deal with the constant stress that comes from the constant request for money, for financial assistance of some sort, etc. And even worse, many lottery winners have ended up depressed or even suicidal as a result of all of this. So these are the 5 main reasons why most lottery winners tend to go broke within just a few years after winning the lottery. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you've won the lottery, just do these 5 things to make sure that ends up being a blessing, a positive thing, as opposed to being an absolute nightmare. So 1, control your spending, as irresistible as it may be. 2nd, hire a competent, qualified tax accountant or tax attorney who specializes in lottery winnings. 3, as much as you possibly can, avoid making financial decisions based on emotions. Just take some time after you've won before you even claim your winnings. And number 4, work along with a competent, qualified, licensed financial advisor to help you to become more financially literate, to know what investments would be the most suitable for you. And make sure that you do your research to ensure that this financial advisor is experienced enough. Experience in the sense that they've worked with people with large sums of money, people who are wealthy. And number 5, make sure that you claim your winnings anonymously. If it's possible in your state or in your jurisdiction, make sure that your name, your likeness, your appearance avoid being made public. And get legal help if necessary to make sure that it happens. And that is simply because you may not be in the position to handle a lot of requests from so many different people, which would be the case if your identity is known to the public. So that's it. If this video was informative to you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, because it really does help me to grow the channel, to continue to get you to be more financially literate. And always don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified as soon as I release my next video. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.